No, so this is a real problem of getting interviewed on the show floor of like E3 or someplace, is almost always the interviewer was shorter than me.
Oh yeah.
And so I would look down at them and I would just have this double chin, where, I can lose some weight, but I'm not that. And so I would then have to explain to them. So then I try to do this thing where I would look up and then look down at them, and I just looked high. And in fact, I had people in the Steam forums be like, "Man, it looks really high in this photo." So then I would just go to the people who were interviewing me and say, "Hey, I'm going to look over your head. It's going to feel weird, but it'll look right in the frame once we do it. I've done this enough." And so that's how I do almost all of my interviews, was looking over somebody's head.
Well, the secret we had at Tested was that our producer Joey was just tall, so he would always be.
That's good.
Yeah, you got to have a tall producer. We had a short producer for a while, and that was problematic. We had one interview with a person who is very famous at one point, and he yelled at one of us because we were shooting up at him, and he was like, "Nobody looks good when you shoot up at somebody." This is horrible. I'll tell you who it was later. Not on camera.
But also, this is the problem. There's a problem with Zoom, because like I wanna, or these videos, I want to look at the camera, but if I look at the camera, I can't look at you and I can't see your reaction, and then that feels just weird and robotic and inhuman.
I just look at myself. There's nothing better on the screen right now.
I cannot wait till we're back in the real world at some point.
Oh, it'll be nice.
All right. All right. But hey,
yeah,
we are babbling a little because we've got a lot of stuff coming up. We have just a ton of stuff in this update. Right before we started recording, we tried to, off the top of our heads, recall everything that's in this update.
It just kept coming.
I'm sure we failed.
Well, so here's the thing. I think each update we've done has had more stuff than the one before. Because like the first one was, oh God, here are all these things we didn't realize that, or maybe we knew were problems and we had to fix them, and it's just like a bunch of fixes. And then each one we've added more and more stuff. And this one is the first one that feels like a really huge update. I think the next few are all like we're on a good cadence now.
Yeah. So there's gonna be some things that are gonna be really obvious to players when they go to start a game. Hey, they can have a private lobby if they want, or a private server.
Yeah.
They can play offline if they want. They're gonna have a lot of these availability, and that's really getting ready for mods coming, which will come next update. But for this update, like, these are all getting ready and starting. And those are like the obvious ones. Those will hit you in the face the minute you load
There's
up
a new UI. The first time you load the game, you see a whole new menu system, which looks dope and lets us do things like offline servers. And anyway, yeah.
And also you'll see you'll be able to choose the intensity level of the game that you want to play. And if you think of like that as the start for things to come, eventually you'll be able to choose other aspects of the game. Do you want friendly fire? Do you want like whatever you want? We'll put a lot of different modifiers in there and open that up to allow people to change their game for the way they like.
Yep.
But for now, that's the start of it.
Yeah.
And then once you get in the game, there is a whole bunch of changes. The most noticeable to me, and why it's hard to play in a public game right now, is a lot of weapon tuning, balance, and changes. You're gonna have to revisit all your weapons again.
The gun feel.
You may have a new favorite.
The thing that's happened for me personally over the last few weeks is that I've gone from, hey, I really like this gun and this is the one I use most of the time, to I use this gun on the big open level, and I use this gun when I know that it's going to be a lot of close-up fighting, and I use this gun if I know that we're going to have to just haul it through like a bad place as fast as we can, and it's changed how I play the game in a really fun way.
Which, like, I use the blaster or the heavy blaster when I'm playing Holdout mode, which is another new thing. There's a whole new mode, and we just have one map to start. And this is something we had a town hall on. We talked with the community about and got a bunch of great ideas. Not all of them are incorporated yet. This is just the very start of kind of using, what does it look like if we use meta compilers as drops in between waves, and opening up and introducing new kinds of meta compilers and some new things in there. But also, like, you really, really, really want to use the blaster often in there, or the heavy blaster if you can get it from one of the meta compilers.
So,
or the other new thing,
yeah,
and that's the rocket.
Well, it's a rocket launcher that shoots rockets to shoot rockets. Yeah,
it's devastating. It's overpowering. It saves your butt when you need it saved, but it has very few shots, so you need to pick those shots very carefully.
It's kind of a, like, if you have a problem, it'll fix it, or maybe make it worse, but usually fix it.
Unlike fire, which also changed because now common die more readily in fire. They move slower once they get caught on fire. The fire does better damage to specials, especially after the gooper, who after they hit you now has a little bit slower of a time reacting. So it'll actually do this little dance because we don't want it to just be like bam, 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 and everybody's good. Like there's been a bunch of changes like that. From the grabber's gotten a similar kind of change.
There's telegraphs. So the grabber does a telegraph. There's animations that telegraph the attacks, so you have a little bit more time to react, and it's a little bit less of a, oh, hey, I heard a sound and then I hit pulse. I feel like we should explain what holdout mode is, because I don't know that everybody knows what holdout mode is necessarily.
Okay. So holdout mode is you go up to the bridge in episode 1. So that's the 5th map normally, and you start there. And we'll do this in other maps as well, but we just wanted this as the test.
Well, and we want other people to do this with maps. Like, we want you to make holdout maps. That's one of the reasons, it's hard to build a whole campaign, but we feel like a holdout map is a really nice kind of self-contained thing that is much more accessible to modders.
And so what happens in this one is you start on that map, and you have one meta compiler available to you, and you can pick your perk, and then you start, and then you have to come through a wave, and then you get a little break.
Yeah.
And it feels like you have like 60 seconds, and that feels like a lot of time, but that quickly starts to become less and less time, because every 3rd wave, you have 2 other meta compilers that are available to you, and those will dispense weapon styles upgrades or different stuff, and then health. And it just gets more and more intense, crazier and crazier. I think at one point I was the last one standing last time we played, and it was like 3 brutes chasing me as I was going through. If you die, if you go down, you can come back up, because this is something like there's other games that have like, there's always this like, how do you handle death in this mode? And so you can go down and we can bring you back up, like that happens. But if you die, which means you get teleported back to the jump ship in our game, you actually have to stay out until the end of that wave, and then you come back. And then I think we've talked about framing this whole thing as this is Boris helping you get prepared to go on to the Anacrusis, and kind of a little prep for that. So we'll do some framing around it. We don't have that recorded yet or anything, but like this is the very beginning, very start of what we talked about in that
the town
hall with everybody. And it's really now that we have it, so we're very iterative. So we have this, we put this up, you play it, we start talking about those other things we had talked about in there, like moving around in the map, or having places like, hey, if you hold out this area and you stay in here, maybe one of the other meta compilers will come, or maybe you'll get a free re-roll, or like something comes from doing different things through the map.
Well,
and so like all of that stuff will come, because all the feedback from the community is why we made changes to the gooper and to the grabber and everything else, right? It's just like continuously that feedback loop of listening to you, working it through. We test it internally. We bring people in from the outside, which we've been doing this past week and testing it. And we're about, like, as we record this, we're about to open up the private beta to everybody, so they can test it as well for us. And it's just like this loop. I wish it was quicker, but it ends up making a game. It's a pain in the butt, and it takes about a month to go from start to finish on these loops, right?
Well, that was one of the things that we found, is we initially thought we were going to be able to do these faster, and it turns out just the overhead of making the game, it turns out, like, from hey, we have a code change to hey, we can play that code change on the Xbox, is like a 18-hour loop sometimes. Like, it can take a long time to get that stuff out there and up and ready to go. It's the thing that's interesting to me about holdout mode especially is we're playing on the episode 1 bridge finale, which is probably the finale I've spent the most time playing as a tester internally. It plays completely different in holdout than it does in the finale, even though, like, you're essentially doing the same thing, right? You're standing there, you're trying to survive, but just the wave-based nature of it, and the fact that the waves are kind of gradually increasing in intensity and all that, it makes it really fun.
We also unleashed some caps.
Yeah,
you will see a lot of common. When the common wave comes, be prepared. You are going to want to have a vortex grenade or some other way, or a rocket that shoots rockets is a good thing to handle that, or even a heavy shotgun that helps clear out nearby aliens.
And like the normal impetus to hoard stuff. Like, I think at one point we were playing early on, you were like, hey, let's save our turrets until we get to round 5, and round 3 you're like, drop your turrets, put the turrets down right now, man, we're gonna and the turrets saved us, it turned out. Okay, so we got holdout mode, we've got new gun feel and balance for the 3 main weapons, We've got some pretty substantial director tuning and changes.
Yes, the combat experience in total.
Yeah,
It's all playing together, because if you think about it, is the damage a player takes and how much damage they output affects the director. And so for the director then to be able to handle that, we need to scale the player back a little bit so we have an understanding there, and so then we can expand it back out.
yeah,
And so for us, it is this back and forth of director and kind of the player kit, back and forth tension of, is the player overpowered, what's the combat, what's a curve look like. I think in this version we won't have some adjustments that we've talked about, but like we will have coming down the road, like we've realized, hey, some of these perks really you shouldn't get in the first app, you shouldn't get in the first map, you should get later maps, or different ways to think about that. Or when are things too powerful, or when they're not powerful enough? Should we have a different class of weapons? Is the mini gum is not in
this build.
Okay, because that's like another new
That's
weapon that we made, that's
work
like
in progress name also,
that is very or it's a typo, one or the other.
Whatever.
But it is a very much a situational. It works really, really well, and it's really fun in a holdout situation. Maybe not fun everywhere else because it slows you down, but like there's a bunch of stuff that we are just trying out in this mode, and it's a really fun kind of place to play.
Well, yeah, I mean, the holdout mode is a good place for us to test bed new things. Is I think one of the big benefits of it. So let's see, we have new game instructor hits are coming in for new players. I was gonna say, one of the things that's tough about the director stuff and the player balancing the player kit versus the enemy threat and what the director does is that the amount of damage that you and I do and take as players is very different than somebody who's brand new at the game and doesn't know to use grenades or doesn't know to use special weapons and stuff like that. So it's a lot of that, and we are keeping normal and intense modes. The normal mode will be a little bit more intense than it maybe was in update 3. The intense mode we're hoping is going to be about the same. It's always a tightrope of balance there to get that stuff exactly right. But we'll keep working on it if it's not.
But another really big change is also the player bots have gotten a really big update. So from the bug stuff like sticking to just being more active and being more part of the world with you, they're just 100 times better. But with that, also the director now deals with them in a better way, so that if you are going to play solo offline, because you can do that now, you'll find that that'll be a more challenging experience as well now, as the director won't softball it for you because you've got bots. And it does a really nice job with that. And so I've been testing that all week. Every day I play a bunch, and it's been really fun to kind of play with that.
And along with that comes a lot of the fixes for a lot of the places that they got stuck. We're still always looking for places. If you see places that bots get stuck, please let us know on the Discord, or send a bug report from the main menu.
Little trick: if they do get stuck, don't look at them.
Oh, look away.
This is one of the weird things of when we play test with it and we're doing it. It's different than just play the game as if they were players and look forward, because the bots won't teleport if you're looking at them.
That makes sense. That's
so
good.
Don't look at them.
Yeah.
And they will catch up to you. And that's not the ideal solution. We will keep working on that. But especially as we start playtesting some of the mod maps that we've been playtesting and everything, we want to make sure that this solution works even for people who are new to the system and new to the maps. We were talking right before this about like the wiki that we're setting up for documentation for the mods and everything. We're already set up for there. We already have modders set up and they're already making stuff. And so we have to make sure that those bots also can, if the mappers have a problem, that the bots can navigate through that, and that we have solutions to that. And that's why we'll always have teleport, probably just to kind of bail everybody out there.
Well, it's a just in case, right? And it also solves problems like if a player is lagging behind and then they disconnect or whatever, then the bots will zip forward and all that. I attended this a minute ago. The game instructor has a ton of new things that it's doing now. It's teaching people which buttons to press, and if you get, it's doing more to help new players figure out what to do. And at the same time, after you play for a little bit, you'll see it when you first load up this patch, and then after you play a game or two, probably won't see the prompts anymore. Maybe in a couple of places. So we think it's a clever solution to the tutorial, to tutorializing the game without.
And if you already know what to do and you don't want to see them, you can turn them off.
Yeah, they're in the menu.
We have been really careful about everything that we add to the game to make sure that we include some UI element in there. Because the other big thing that we haven't talked about is the flasher.
I literally just put that on the list of things to talk about. Yes.
So that we've made a big change to the flasher because we heard the feedback of it just being overly bright and really blowing out some people's eyes when they played on certain set of monitors. Like it's this whole really big problem of it's just not the game and elements that we control, but also your monitor, your settings, and everything else. So we've actually made a change to it where it does this little trick where it gets a little dimmer and then brighter, but it's a little bit more constrained. But if you like the old way, you can also set that back to the old way in the settings. But the default way does this nice, cool thing of when it's coming, and there's this little moment of getting ready.
It still has the same practical effect of
Yes.
making it hard to see what's on the screen, but it doesn't set your screen to 3,000, 30,000 nits or the white hot surface of the sun, whatever your super HDR monitor will do, which is a good change, we think. I think that's we've changed the way Pulse works a little bit.
Yes.
There's now, instead of having 3 equal pulses, you get 1 big pulse, which is modifiable by perks just like before, and that knocks enemies away just like it has. And then there's a smaller kind of like half charge that you can release if you want to parry something, or if you want to just buy yourself a split second. The benefit here is that when we turned off friendly fire, it made it much more likely that you can help your teammates by just kind of shooting in their general direction if they're surrounded by a horde. And we want to see what people's reaction to this is.
And so what Will described is where it is today.
Yeah.
We have been playing with outside playtesters, and this is something we're going to iterate on over the week up to launch.
Yeah.
So but we'll see what it is for shipping, but it may be slightly different than Will described it. But it is something that I think literally every day there's a little bit of tuning going on. And we've been bringing in brand new players as well as seasoned players to kind of come in and mess with this.
People so far have liked it quite a bit, but like Chet says, it is a system that is in flux. And I think that let's see, common. There's new enemy animations, lots of new death animations. The transitions to ragdolls are better. Just try. I think one of the engineers the other day was like, "Hey, when they're coming over a ledge at you, just try shooting them on the way down and see what happens." And it's pretty good. They look the common especially look really good. And the common in general are much more of a threat now than they have been at any other point since the game's been out, I think, which is good.
Yeah, and then there's just been a whole bunch of other bug fixes and changes of like you pay for wandering off on your own now in a different kind of way than I think you used to. A bunch of crashes have been addressed. Just really hunted down a lot of things. Oh, one thing, if for whatever reason you stuck in -DX12 in your command line, yank that out.
Yeah.
Just yank that out.
It's going to make you crash. Well, there's a high likelihood it will make you crash in the new update.
It depends, yes. But yes, in general, we've made a lot of changes to just make everything smoother, the flow into the game. And yeah,
like the one of the bugs that we've been haunted by for the last several months is this hitch that happens when player bots respawn or when people join your game. We think that that's mostly fixed now. We've definitely hit a lot of cases where that can happen. So please keep us posted if you see those after 4.0 is out. And yeah, but like you said, Chet, the bug fixes, quality of life improvements, and stability improvements.
And a lot of those come from, in our discord.gg/StoryBombay. We play with the community. I think I'm going to play tonight and do the weekly challenge with the group. And so it's like that regular interactions with you, getting feedback from you. The forums and the Discord have been great for that. We really appreciate that of helping us make the game better.
Yeah. Please, get in there. If something's bugging you about the game, please jump in there in the feedback channel or the discussion channel and post about it. We read almost everybody on the team reads that. We don't post a ton because we want to kind of leave it as a place that people can have a conversation without feeling like we're watching over their shoulders. But we're watching.
I do post pictures of my cats a lot.
And yes, everybody knows about Boris and Boris, definitely, and Bella. But Boris is the one that has we need to get another bot named Bella, I guess, and for full fairness. But yeah, we have a bug that we're still working on that has to do with matter compiler rerolls not showing up right for players, and I'm going to get off of this and then literally jump onto the main servers and see what I can test to see if we can figure out what the problem with that is. And we wouldn't have known that is a problem if people hadn't told us in the Discord or the reported bug form. So So please, please, please hit the report a bug button in the menu or jump in the Discord and let us know what you like and what you don't like, because we are like
Yep.
this is how we decide what stuff we work on next.
And I will say this: there's a lot of changes. And so what happens to us internally when we have these many changes is we always say, you got to live with it for a little bit.
Yeah.
Like your first reaction may be like, hey, I expected this and it no longer does that. Well, yeah, because it's changing. And so now what does it feel like? What is it like? Like, okay, wait, now I should use this weapon here or this weapon there. And you change it. So try it out and give us feedback. And yeah.
Yeah. And if you are, let's see, by the time you see this, we should have this out and posted, ready to go. But if you don't, and if you want to help us test stuff in the future, if you want to get in on the private testing before the new builds are out, please go in the private testing channel or public testing channel on the Discord, rather. You can post !beta anywhere in the Discord, and we'll give you a list of instructions for how to sign up for the beta test on Steam or on Xbox or Microsoft Store or Xbox Series. And yeah, we would love to have the more people that help with that, the more bugs we find and the more feedback we get prior to launch, and the better off the game is. So we appreciate that help from everyone. And I guess that'll do it for us this week. Yeah. Update 4. It's out now.
Yeah, and just let's we'll see you on the Discord and hook up and play some, and yeah.
Thanks everybody.
Right. See you everyone.
Bye.
Bye.